Kia ora and welcome. Welcome to another episode of The Leadership Lounge. It's great to have you here. I'm Katie, I'm your host, and yes, welcome to episode number 60. Can you believe that? Yep, episode number 60 of The Leadership Lounge. This is a space for healthcare leaders to take a moment, roll those shoulders, take a breath, take a pause, sit down, put your feet up, grab a coffee. I have my coffee here. I've even shut the door today, so no cats. I know, disappointing. I know, I can tell. So I'm Katie, I'm your host. I have worked in healthcare for over 30 years and I now get to work with leaders and their teams so that you can all feel supported, encouraged, optimistic. Optimistic has been the word in the sessions I've been running this last week. Yeah, about the work that you do, the future of healthcare, all of that stuff. Because we do have to believe, sounding like a Cher song already at this time in the morning, but we do have to have that hope. And that's what these conversations are about. So episode 60, we're marking the time of Matariki, just kicked over here in Aotearoa, the midwinter solstice, and in the northern hemisphere, the summer solstice. And so they're important junctures in our year. And we can make big fusses around New Year and Christmas, all the stuff. But I think this middle point of the year, whatever hemisphere you're in, and why I particularly resonate with the period of Matariki, I suppose, this midpoint, or this time in the year, very much feels like an opportunity. Now, while I didn't do anything particularly special or maybe intentional is the word. It was very much wrapped up into how we, both Adam and I, are feeling right now and the things that we're doing. So, and I guess the other thing around these moments, these junctures, it's also a reminder that you can, the moments to stop, pause, reflect can come up at any time. You don't need a special holiday to do these things. The special holidays are there for us to grab hold of and make the most of, lean into the meaning and the history of those moments. But actually, to stop and pause, reflect is there for us at all times, any day. Halfway through a terrible day, stop, pause, reflect, reset that day. We can do that at any time. So this last weekend, it was important. So we're now really on the countdown. We're at 2 weeks till we go, taking that big move back to the UK. And so this was really a great space to pause and reflect as to how I got here. How did I get to where I got to? All those stories from way, way back that have led me to this very, very point. And I was thinking very much about my ancestors, my grandmothers in particular, very core people to who I am, my values, my beliefs, the way I see the world and the way I feel about certain things. Some good, some not so great, to be honest. There are some old stories from my grandmothers that are actually not serving me to my best. So it's this chance to just consider how we got to where we got to. But also the other thing that has recently happened, one of my aunts in the UK has just passed away, just died. And I was very sad I couldn't be there to support my cousin. And it was a real kind of a reinforcing of our why of our move. The reason why we're going back is around this connection with our family and being able to be closer to family. Because as much as we love the lives, the country, the people here in Aotearoa, there is this pull of family, and we do need to honour that. So it was a good weekend to kind of really absorb all of that. But in that same space, it's also about considering those what matters most to us. And it really links onto it. And I think that's always a good moment for whatever job you're in and wherever you're at, it's around understanding what matters most to you. What's the most important thing about your job? What's the most important thing about your role? What are you really there to do? So this kicks into your values, your purpose, but it's also about understanding the expectation of your job. Now, for us right now, this is actually just showing up in the what are we packing? Now, a lot of things is being transported, so you've got to wait 4 months for it to arrive. So it's out of all this all these things that we have around us, what matters most that we're gonna need and want to have with us when we first get there. Adam very unhelpfully said the other day, I just want to take New Zealand with me. I don't think that's going to fit into the weight limit. So yeah, it's this idea as to what matters most. And there was a good exercise I did with somebody the other day around trying to work this one out, particularly when you're feeling there is too much. There's too much stuff, too many things to do. If you needed to cut your work time by 3/4 for whatever reason, or if you're going to be limited in some way, what would be the quarter that's left? If for some reason you couldn't go to work for 3/4 of the time that you would nearly normally do, and so therefore you have to take away 3/4 of your work, I know, the thought of that is quite unrealistically, because everyone just keeps layering more and more work on and on and on. I know that. Let's just step into the world of fantasy at the moment, and you actually go, oh, actually, you need to take away all of this because you only have time to do that. But it's a significant amount, right? What would float to the top? What would be the most important thing? So I'm looking around at all my stuff and I'm like going, what do I really need? What do I really need to take? What's the most important thing? What's the things I love the most? What are the clothes I wear the most? What am I, all of that. But it's the same with our work. What is the thing that matters most? What is the stuff that you do on a weekly, daily, monthly basis that really influences the impact and the outcomes you are trying to achieve in your job? So it means you've got to stop and think about, okay, what is the point of my job? What am I here to do? What's the purpose of it? And then it's about, okay, so what are the most important things within that space that I have to keep doing? That I could still be effective in my work, even though I'm only here at work 1/4 of the time. It's a really cool question just to stop and consider into that moment. So we've had this space of pausing and reflecting, considering how we've got there, that looking back. We've got that space of being in the moment, that what matters most in this space, what am I here to do? What matters most to me? What's the most important things? And then there's also, at this period of time, this space to celebrate, to consider the wins, the bright spots, all of that stuff. Now, she says, almost crossing my legs metaphorically on the sofa, leaning back, taking a big swig of coffee as we get into the real nub of this. Now then, she says, the more and more and more I look at all of this stuff, and the more I sit with the anxieties, the fears, the doubts, the concerns, the uncertainty, and let's be honest, there's a lot of that out there in the world right now, in general. Not alone if you're contemplating a big change or a big move or whatever else is going on in your life. The more I sit and the more I struggle with those fears, the more I realise that gratitude is the answer. And it sounds kind of contradictory, and it sounds a little bit trite and a little bit cheesy and a little bit woo-woo. The other day, I literally forced myself, in the midst of all these anxieties and concerns that I've got about everything, forced myself, pen in my hand, to write my grateful list. And once I got past the first couple of things, it started getting a bit easier. And as I wrote, my mother would be so proud, as I wrote a few more things, started to feel a little bit lighter. And as that list got longer, my world got bigger. And as that list got longer, my opportunities and the possibilities got brighter. And it's so true. I will talk about gratitude quite a lot, and I sometimes feel, am I overdoing it? But this last couple of weeks, I've realised, I might be overdoing it. But right now, this might be the message you need to hear. You're sitting in this space of anxieties, doubts, worries, fears, uncertainties, all of that stuff that we can so easily hold, sometimes without even noticing. Then gratitude is the answer. And it really was. I didn't do any fancy diary stuff, and I've got them all. I have. It really was this space of just writing down, what am I grateful for? and just writing a list in a crappy notebook. So there you go, this period of Matariki and of our midwinter point or our midsummer point of the year, just making the most of this as a special opportunity to pause, reflect, consider where you've got, how you've got to where you're at right now, and the people, your ancestors, those around you that are special, that have supported you into this space. Consider what matters most to you right now. What are the things that float to the top if things are pressured and limited? And then, what are you here to celebrate? There are marvellous things that are happening every day, and we need to look to see them. And then our worlds will feel brighter and lighter, and the possibilities and the opportunities become more evident to us. And this is the message. I know I'm making it sound like I know all this. It is the message I'm saying to myself every day right now. Okay. Oh, that was quite a nice, quite succinct today. I think I was quite focused. I think I've moved into the focus zone. As opposed to last week, I was definitely in the chaotic zone. I'm into the focus zone. All right. So thank you for listening to another episode of The Leadership Lounge. This was episode number 60, and we're going to have one more before my big move. So we're going to get to episode 61, and then I'm going to wrap up the season. So tune in for next week's episode, where I really want to lean into that space of that transition. You know, let's just go with this space of where we're at, because these things, yes, we hold these things in our lives, but they very much translate into our work lives as well. And as a final point, maybe, those things are not separate. I think as my handy add-on to this episode, the minute I realised that work-life balance was a fallacy, and I just embraced my life, things got a lot easier. And so these steps, this pause, reflect, how did you get to where you got to? Who are the people that have supported you? Who are the people that have given you the stories and the energy to get to where you needed to get to? What matters most? What are your values? What are the important things that you do? Who are the important people in your life? And how are you going to celebrate? What are you grateful for? And what are the amazing things that are happening around you? Those three things, they're that really sort of grounding space for that understanding that your life is your life, and our work, yes, is important. It is a big part of that, but so much more in our lives is possible. Okay. All right, I will really wrap up now. Thank you for listening to another episode of The Leadership Lounge. It's been great to have you here. I am Katie. I'm your host, and I am working with leaders and their teams so that people can feel supported and encouraged and optimistic in the work that you are doing every day to support, enable, and just build the healthcare systems that we need around the world. Thank you so much for that work that you are doing. And I will see you back next week for another episode number 61, and the last of season 4 of The Leadership Lounge. You take care.